Hey folks, here OS and MediaTechExpertise.com. You're watching our video review of the Franklin eBookman. This is an electronic ebook reader produced by Franklin, who is a publisher of a lot of dictionaries and some books here and there. And so as a result, this device dubs as an electronic dictionary and again a multifunction kind of PDA-esque device that's also a book reader. What makes this unique compared to other ebook readers is obviously the size here, which is a lot smaller than traditional 5-inch or 7-inch screen. Instead, it kind of fits in between more of a phablet form factor. Again, I'd like to call it the phablet of PDAs, because if you see a lot of last-gen PDAs like the Palm VIIX, the screen itself, as you can see here, is quite a bit smaller than this device, which has a huge screen, but the slimness and the sleekness is overall pretty manageable. So it's like a modern-day phablet, but in an ebook/PDA format, which I think is interesting. Otherwise, this product is also produced in conjunction with Ectaco, which we've seen before, and Ectaco is a brand name that also produces ebook readers, so it's a partnership between Ectaco and Franklin, which we are excited to see. Otherwise, again, we do have a smaller footprint. Downsides of that is obviously the screen is going to be smaller, so for ebook reading, it's not going to be as comfortable as a traditional e-ink screen, and also the fact that it uses LCD technology means that it's going to not be as, like paper experience in terms of reading on it. There's going to be a lot more glare, and viewing angles are a lot less worse than, I guess, comparable devices that you can see out there. The device comes in two different models. This is the EBM-901. There's also a 911 version, and both devices are different because this version comes with 8 megabytes of storage and the 911 comes with the 16 megabytes of storage. But both models can be expanded by a full SD card slot located on the back of the unit, which we can show you in a moment. As far as interface, whereas by a cursory glance you might think this is actually running a older operating system such as Palm OS, actually it's using its own proprietary OS. You see the graffiti area down here is actually not graffiti at all, but it's something run entirely by Franklin, which is very intriguing. The touchscreen itself is pretty responsive. It's a resistive touchscreen, however, and not capacitive, so you do have to press a little bit harder or use a bundled stylus that's included in the box. Otherwise, we like the build, and some other special features include the fact that it can also play MP3s, so you can play audiobooks. However, they can only be played back in a very specific format that Franklin recognizes, and if you don't have that format, you have to kind of convert it using a PC first. Lastly, this ebook reader also doesn't have any additional wireless functions other than kind of connecting to a PC using a USB port, so it's not going to automatically download books over the air over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or anything like that. But you can write notes, you can have PDA functions, some document viewing functions, again you can see Word functions, MP3 functions, you can do voice memos, dates, calendars, and appointments, but it's just not as intuitive as a wireless unit such as the Kindle, which has, again, more wireless inputs. Otherwise, this is a pretty fully kind of rounded device. Franklin also offers an online store, but again, you have to access it on a PC or Mac before you can download content and pull it into the player by dragging and dropping it in. And also, the device comes, of course, you can use Microsoft eBook Store for downloading books, and you can put it in that way. And anyways, it does, again, pretty much seem like a pretty complementary and interesting product. Again, a mixture between a PDA and an ebook reader. Taking a closer look at the hardware design, we see eBookman logo on the top. There's also a microphone port, and we see the logo on the side. Interesting thing here is that the actual plastic employed is kind of a sparkly plastic, which is interesting since this is kind of the same plastic material utilized on most Japanese electronics, but this version is actually produced in Thailand, so it's a little bit intriguing. But still, it's kind of from an Asian market standpoint. On the sides here, we have a few rubber attachments, which makes the device pretty easy to grip and hold in the hand, which we appreciate. As far as footprint is considered, even though, again, it's pretty wide for one-handed use, it's like most phablets these days, and if you've used devices such as the Samsung Galaxy Note or the Xiaomi Note, you should be pretty comfortable with this because it has a similar size in terms of footprint. The bottom of the device features the aforementioned graffiti-esque interface with a D-pad that you can scroll up and down, left and right if you don't want to use the touchscreen itself, and then you can write in handwriting recognition for letters like A, B, C over here, and letters like 1, 2, 3 over here to type in different letters for searches, commands, and the such. Over here, we have access to a few shortcuts, including the calculator function and the main menu and the drop-down menu function. And powering the device on, there's a basic power on button on the bottom here, which is pretty easy to press despite being a little bit small. There's nothing on the sides of the unit except for on the right, which we have a jog dial that dubs as a selection key if you want to press inwards. It's pretty easy to use. You can also use it as your page turn functionality. So in order to page turn, you basically hold it one-handed, and then you can read books, and you can turn it like this. So it's pretty easy to use. Certainly very interesting because we haven't seen this kind of stuff before. The top of the device features a 3.5mm headphone jack, the aforementioned USB port. Note here that you need a two-headed USB port, one that plugs into the unit and the other one that plugs into a PC or a Mac. So it's a little bit proprietary. We haven't really seen a lot of these days. And then something to note is that you do need to sync this product with a PC or Mac before you can start using it. Otherwise, the product will kind of lock you out of the OS, and unless you create a sync initially, you can't actually start using it. So a PC or a Mac is necessary to just start using this product. It's not usable right out of the box. The bottom of the device features the port for the batteries, which it takes actually two AAA batteries. As far as battery life is concerned, it's actually pretty good. We found that it lasted us about 2 to 3 months before we had to recharge it and replace it. One downside to the battery compartment is that after you remove the battery, there isn't a built-in memory that saves your content. So if you remove it for too long, all of your data, like your books and your downloads, is all going to be erased from the system's memory, which is actually quite tedious. I believe that there might be some updates forthcoming, perhaps some updates that people have created themselves that might fix this problem, but it's not something that comes included right out of the box, which is disappointing. You can see on the box it also says it's audible ready, which is like the audiobook version that you can download over the computer and drag it onto here. So in addition to listening to your MP3s and audiobooks via a standard 3.5mm headphone jack, you can also use it using a loudspeaker, which is indeed pretty loud that we like. The side here accesses the port for the aforementioned SD card for expanding the memory. However, we have to say that this is one of the most frustrating components we've ever come across in any electronic device, because the memory card slot is very tight and difficult for the card to actually be removed. And you can see we actually had to peel back some of the plastic just to get our card removed, which is very frustrating. The card would not come out any other way. It's not spring assisted, so it's not very well designed, unfortunately. Taking a quick look at the device after it gets powered on, you can see the screen is pretty usable, but it is extremely transflective. So if you want to read this under the sun, it's going to be kind of an issue. As with all Ectaco products, this offers universal language support and not just kind of in English. You can see it goes back and forth between French, in between Spanish, between English, Italian, all these different languages that scroll across the screen. So it's something that can be widely utilized, which is great. So it can support multilingual different languages and the such. So if you wanted to look at the demo, it says, welcome to your eBookman. Again, the contrast is pretty good. There isn't a backlight, however, so you can't see this in darker environments. Listen to ebooks, audiobooks, to-do lists, and then as such, you can sync it with your PC and more. If you want to take a quick look at how the interface exactly looks, we can take a quick peek at kind of over here. I have the interface actually stored on here. You can see that it looks like a grid-like icon, and it shows up all your different information like your time, date, your music. There's no built-in web applications like browsing the web, for example, because again, the device doesn't have any wireless options. So you can only kind of go over into your ebooks, your MP3s, your audiobooks, and essentially that's it. You do have individual icon support for different books, such as Sherlock Holmes, as you can see there. So it will create a new icon for every ebook that you create from a folder, which is pretty cool. But again, it's a little bit limited in terms of interface, but still pretty organized. It's again in this grid-like icon that you can go back and forth and select from. So pretty simplistic, nothing too much going on, just a dictionary, a few books, and everything else you have to kind of download for yourselves. Of course, there are free books available online that you can again drag and drop to the unit, but then again, they are proprietary, so it's not going to work with all text-based documents out there, such as PDF won't work. You have to convert it to Franklin's format, which is a little bit frustrating, just like the MP3 formats. So overall, this is a pretty interesting product as far as design, because it fills in a niche in the market where we haven't seen before in terms of footprint and size, and the price point, about $150, is also not too extravagant. But downsides to this is the fact that the screen is actually a traditional touchscreen and not an ink screen, which is a little bit more difficult to see under direct sunlight, and also the fact that the device is very proprietary in terms of offering only selected formats for reading text and also for listening to audiobooks, which can hinder people who want to play back their their own original formats. And as such, we don't think it is able to compete at the moment with the likes of more powerful ebook readers like the Kindle or the Barnes & Noble Nook. And for this reason, we would say this is definitely something that we would rate about 3 out of 5 stars, and we agree with the current ratings online with this product, unfortunately. But if you are kind of someone looking for a universal product that offers a lot of language support, something that's a little bit smaller and easier to carry with you, definitely give the eBookman from Franklin and Ectaco a second look, because it's one of the few ebook readers that does offer multilingual support. So thanks for watching this video review here at os@btxreads.com. This has been our video review of the Franklin and Ectaco eBookman electronic publishers. This has been the EBM-901 model. Thanks for watching.